It's week 2 of this creative journey on my channel. I know the posting of it isn't exactly that, but I'll stay true to the timeline of my filming. The more I practice creativity, the more I view it as both a mindful and expansive practice. Freedom of expression begins from a mindful state. From there, we expand. Only after being present with the thoughts or feelings we experience can we allow these states of being to take form. The beauty of art is that it has no limits, whether it be movement or fine art or just approaching our daily mundane lives with more of an open and curious mind. Creativity really finds itself at the center of life, whether or not we recognize that life-giving force. These creativity diaries are little pockets of my attempts to lean into that life-giving force and express myself artistically, so thank you for being here. Hello and welcome back to another creativity vlog, or whatever you want to call these videos. In a nutshell, the last video I basically challenged myself for the week to commit to some creative practice, some art project, and that was crocheting coasters. Actually, wait, they're right here. Last week I crocheted these coasters and I actually really enjoyed the whole challenge of like reaching for my crochet hook, reaching for something creative instead of, reaching for my phone or getting too caught up with my thoughts. So I've decided to kind of continue this challenge, if you will. And this week's creative project is an action board, or like a vision board. The reason why I'm calling it an action board is because, just kind of like how I've talked about in the last two videos, I really enjoyed reading this book by Dr. Tara Swart, and she calls a vision board an action board, and I like the name of that more, and I think it makes more sense for what it's supposed to do in your life. Another thing is that I'm definitely kind of like following her outline in terms of creating this action board and the advice she gives for creating one, so this action board is definitely inspired by that book. In the last video, I think I left off, I just cut up some images from magazines and kind of like placed them on the board, and since then I've just kind of let them like sit there for a little bit. I did a bit of journaling this morning as to like why I chose the images that I did, and it helped me gain a lot of clarity in terms of like how I want to place these images and what actually matters to me in life. So I just kind of wanted to take this moment as a chance to go through the different images that I picked out and kind of what they mean to me. First, we've got this green fuzzy hat thing with little sprouts emerging from the crown, and this to me really represents creativity. Surprise, surprise. I originally put this image off to the side more, but I want to move it to the center of my action board because I want creativity to be the center of my life and kind of inspire every other aspect of it. I also found a lot of book imagery. Here's one in particular that I think is really beautiful. I find it a little ironic because despite all of these images and also being a writer, I don't read a ton. However, I still like the symbolism books have. I view it as a symbol of writing my own story, both literally and figuratively, turning the page to a new chapter of life. This one reminds me of traveling and exploration, something that always brings a lot of novelty and perspective to my life. We've got some crosswalks on my action board because I really want to move somewhere that is walkable. I honestly just love commuting places by walking around. It's a great way to explore more, and it's the perfect break whenever I need one. Walking is very important to me, and it's something I don't take for granted being able to do. I picked out this photo of Emma Chamberlain because I feel like she's embodying such sophistication and grace. I love the birds flying around her, and overall, I don't really have much to say other than I like the vibe, and it's a vibe I want to embody. This image represents having time to myself and making art. I love this visual of the wave crashing on the shore and the white water splashing. To me, this symbolizes the transition stage of things and kind of finding the beauty in the chaos, or when things get a little turbulent. These words speak for themselves. There's more photos I'm adding, but we would be here all day if I kept going, so time to move along. This has been a super fun way to gain clarity for what I want in life, so I definitely recommend anyone kind of do this. I think that having visual symbols of what we want can be a really powerful way of determining for ourselves what we want, because we don't necessarily have like the exact words, but when symbols speak to us and then we explain what those symbols mean, I think that shows things that really mean something to you versus what really means something to someone else, or something that, society or a friend or a family member or whoever it may be is trying to like influence on you. One thing Dr. Tarswart encourages when creating this collage is to really spend time with it, to move the pieces around multiple times before sticking them on, to sleep and wake up the next morning with a clear mind and look at it again and again. Spending as much time as I did on this project benefited me more deeply than just creating what I think is a lovely piece of art. It motivated some of my journal entries and forced me to reflect on the things that truly matter to me. I realized even for someone who does journal very frequently and considers themselves to be a very reflective person, I didn't have a lot of clarity on the things that bring meaning to me. I think it can be hard to know what we truly want, and I don't think it's completely our fault. We are constantly being influenced and told what we should want, whether that be our family, friends, partners, social media influencers, billboard advertisements, magazine covers while we're checking out of grocery stores. I mean, even this video. I obviously try to inspire your own unique inner spark with these vlogs, but the way I write my scripts and portray these ideas I share are obviously clouded with my own biases. All of this combined with the fact that we are biologically wired to try to fit into social groups, which is a thing because we needed to do it to survive. It makes so much sense why external influences would influence our own desires and what we think we want in life. Critically thinking about the things we think define us or we think we want is way harder than it may seem. To both step outside of ourselves and look objectively at our needs, but also being aligned emotionally with them, is an art form in and of itself, but at the same time, it is very necessary. This project taught me to not always trust the first idea that pops into my head. It taught me to move forward with ideas, but keep an open mind as to be receptive when they change or become replaced by another that is more aligned with my intuition. Clearing the fog clouding our creativity and spiritual abundance comes from spending time clearing it. Like a painter starting with a blank canvas, I can imagine that the work of art finds its true form as time goes on and effort is put into it. I found that most of my creative process is pretty chaotic and confusing. Even when I write these scripts, I sometimes feel so down about the first draft. It's only after forcing myself to write, giving myself a bit of time after, and then coming back to it, can I be like, oh yeah, there's a bit of a fully formed idea there that I can roll with. Most of the time, I don't even title my videos until I'm publishing them. Fully experiencing creativity in its rawest form is a little ugly. It feels a bit disorganized. And so is this journey of discovering what it is we truly want from life and what matters most to us. I'm not even going to say discovering who we are because identity can fluctuate. The power of investing ourselves in the artistic process is that it teaches us to feel something. It teaches us to express that something. Art, in a way, allows us to make meaning of these objectively meaningless lives we have. Nothing is grand about it, but it's raw and authentic to ourselves. And it makes sense because nothing about a meaningful life is grand most of the time. We make it that way, we perceive it in a meaningful way. Art gives us that perception. So here I am, completing my action board to make some meaning out of my life. In this case, meaning for what I want out of life. And not only does that inspire me to manifest a life of abundance, but it also brings more meaning into what I want in the first place. The more time I spent collaging and sticking images with Mod Podge on a blank canvas. Mod Podge? Mod Podge. I've always said Mod Podge. We're gonna keep saying that. The more time I spent collaging and sticking images with Mod Podge on a blank canvas, the more beautiful that life seemed to me. More importantly, I was able to experience more gratitude for the parallels in my present life that are already aligned with my vision of abundance. And isn't that gratitude the basis for life well lived?